Fabulous Punk Podcast with Olga and Colin. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm ready for spring.
Me
And
too.
yay.
Hey, life. This is a podcast where we talk about punk and adjacent genres. We talk about news. We talk about new music and things like that.
That's right. Ready for some news? Oh, we'll do
I
a
am.
little overview of what we got going on this week. We got
Okay.
trans women in punk rock. We got live shows coming back this year.
Yep.
And then we got new music from NOFX, Broken Gold, Riot Spears, Discover a Fire, Noogy, and plus whatever else we decide to throw in there because we just play it by ear.
That is correct.
But yeah, it is March, which is International Women's Month, which I didn't know, but now I know. Happy Women's Month.
Thank you. I haven't done anything to celebrate. I should.
I don't think anyone does, because as most whatever month they name something,
nothing.
As soon as the month is over, we just forget about it and we move on and we go back to white people, white male, whatever it was. So enjoy it while you can.
I feel like we didn't used to have a month, or I don't remember it being a month, but now there's a month.
Well, now I guess that goes to what I was saying is no one gets an education. So what different? It's a good idea. It's just we're not applying it to the people's education in academic world at school. I just know because I never learned a thing about anything, apparently. And I thought I was a smart person, but I am not. But I typed in news. I went over to my search engine and I just type in punk. And then I click on the news button because I want to know what's going on in punk. And almost every time I get messages about CM Punk, the former pro wrestler, and that annoys the crap out of me. But this month, I found something cool that popped up. Alternative Press Magazine had an article, 10 trans women musicians who are changing the world of punk rock. I didn't want to go through it like line by line of the article. I'll link the article. It's really good. But it is giving me an excuse to talk about Against Me and giving me an excuse to talk about Reviver.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know Reviver was the last punk band from 2010 to 2018 that I even knew of, pretty much. There's just like the dark years, like I was talking about last episode, except for Reviver. They had this album viewed between. This album is my top 10 favorite albums now.
You told me about it.
I've been obsessed with this album and I've been obsessed with this band. And I didn't even know, but one of the musicians in the band is trans, and I don't know, Matty Joe Canino. It's one of those things where you don't want things to matter. You don't want the musician being trans to matter. You just want it to be like a good musician and you like it or not. And then you think to yourself, I'm not going to judge anybody. I'm just here to listen to music. And then I'm torn because I see this article and this reminds me, it's like, wait a minute, I have to respect people here and I don't ignore who they are. You celebrate who they are, and that just because they're different than you or something, but you have to acknowledge it. And so that's where I'm like, what are your thoughts here? Acknowledge something, or do you just live your life?
I think it might depend on the person, because when you were saying you didn't know, and that's a band you told me about years ago. And when you're saying you didn't know something about this band, it's not surprising to me. I think that's where you and I differ. Like, if you like a band, you listen to their music, you might not even know what the lyrics are. Nope. And that's enough for you. When I like a band, I want to be like, the lead singer's favorite cereal is the same as my favorite cereal. It is not interesting, Colin. Like, I get way more involved, and I like knowing what they listen to. I'm interested in other projects they work on or whatever. And so maybe that's just a matter of kind of your personality. Like, I don't know what the right answer is, but I think some people are interested in bands on a more personal level, and some people are not. And I think you and I are total opposite with that, where I am totally interested in all these other things they say, or like sometimes I'll start following bands and I'd be like, oh, this band member is into conspiracy theories, or this band member is into this, and I had no idea. Like, it's really interesting to me, but you don't seem to be interested by any of that stuff at all.
No, that's why that's why I have new thoughts, because
Okay.
I just listen to music, and whatever pops through the speakers, I either like it or I don't like it. And if I like it, I'll be looking for another band that maybe they recommend, or I'm trying to hear something like it, or in the ballpark. And that's about as far as I take it, right? But then on the other hand, if you listen to something and it sounds a certain way by people that look that certain way, the next band that you find will probably be the same. They're going to look the same. They're going to play the same. And like, next thing you know, there's 100 bands you like. They all look the same. They all play the same style of music. It's all the same. And you never think about it. And that's kind of how I've always been. I don't think about it. I just like what I like, right? But then this podcast, we start looking things a different way. I'm like opening my mind. I'm going to go out of my way to find something new. I'm going to look for people that look a little different. I'm still like punk though. That's the thing. So I'm just like, that's where I'm drawing my line here on punk right now.
Yeah.
Well, this punk might not look like that punk, but it's still punk and I like it. And now I'm going to actually pay attention. I'm going to seek that out. That's a new thing for me. And I'm thinking that's a good thing. Whereas in the past of my life, I would have said, I don't care who you are. You either play good punk or you don't. I think I was like that. And now I'm more like, that's still true. Like, I don't care who you are. I still, is it good or is it bad? Blah, blah, blah. But it's also not a bad idea to look for other things that you might be missing.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm finding stuff. I think that's the thing. I'm realizing I am missing tons of stuff. And that's when on like Alternative Press magazine, they put out the article, 10 trans musicians changing the world of punk. And you go through and you watch the YouTube videos, you listen to the music, you're like, hell yeah. Freaking Reviver is amazing. Like, this is awesome stuff. I would have never known if I didn't read this article. If I didn't take the time out of my day to find something new, it would have just been same old. So I was stoked. I think it's a good idea.
I think it's a great idea too. And I've been seeing a lot of lists this year and, in the last few months of like, here's Black punk bands, here's people of color, like there's been a lot more focus on that. But I think for me, that's maybe always been a little bit more of seeking that out. Like I've always, enjoyed listening to bands with females in them or have been like inspired by them or whatever. So I think that's what's cool about that is because, until you see people that look like you, and they say this for other careers, politics, whatever. Unless you've seen somebody who looks like you in that role, you don't even picture yourself in that role. I've played shows and people have been, oh, it's so cool you're a girl. And like, I don't even think about it, but they're still shocked to see a female musician. So it's always good to, be mindful of that stuff and give those type of bands exposure because, it's an industry that's a cliquey industry. So it's all about who you know, and that's how so many bands that look like each other. And not even like, I don't think it's on purpose a lot of the time. I think it's just you have your friends, you help your friends' bands, and you are more likely, whatever your color, orientation, gender, whatever, you're more likely to know people who are like you. That's just the reality of things. So
yeah, like you say, okay. So I'm looking into these new bands, the trans women, Plasma Canvas, who I didn't even know that had a trans woman as the singer of that band. I just like this song, Rot. And I'm like, Plasma Canvas is awesome. And then, I find out later, I'm like, oh, this band's amazing. And then, I'm like, oh, it's a, trans woman in this band. And then you start thinking about trans issues that you might not have thought about. And I'm like, man, so this lady, like the government is trying to, before she even uses the bathroom, she has everyone's getting in your pants, getting in your business, and you're just trying to live your life. And like, I'm not going to normally be confronting myself, even thinking about it, but because now I have a different perspective about it. And so I'm like, I want to be more supportive just as a byproduct of me liking your band. So that's a thing that wouldn't have happened if I didn't go out of my way. And so that's why, again, I'm thinking, Plasma Canvas. awesome band.
That's
Song
awesome.
Rot.
Yeah, I think we talked about one of their releases on previous episodes.
Yeah, no,
right?
it's one of my top songs
Yeah.
of the year. So it's definitely
Yeah.
so anyway. I guess that's about as far as I wanted to take that, but I just wanted to bring it up because great article, link it in, check it out. Always into finding new bands. And if you already know about them, let me know more. Also, put it in the comments. Who else?
Yep.
Just any band.
I've noticed there's like a couple of festivals, not just like concerts, but festivals being posted recently. And we're in California, which sounds like we might be starting to have concerts allegedly like outdoor in like April. I don't even understand how that's happening because we're still in the world where you like wait in line to get into a grocery store sometimes.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering because the news article you sent, well, it wasn't a news article. You sent me a screenshot of a poster announcing bands, and it's the Life is Beautiful Fest that you sent me. And then I look at it, I just see Billie Eilish, Green Day, and Tame Impala. I'm like, okay, well, it's going to be a big concert. Yeah. And then I look, and there's like 100 bands on that list of tons of different genres. I'm like, the mother lode of live music is coming. This is going to be a generational wave of multiple genres, multiple people coming together that might not normally meet each other at a concert because we're just craving it at this point. Yeah. And you just put one band I want to go see on there and I will watch anything. My mind is open right now. I don't care. I'm going to watch Tame Impala and I'm going to watch Billie Eilish and I'm going to watch Green Day. And then I go and I look and I say, I'm going to go watch Young Thug. I'm going to watch Glass Animals. I don't know who these people are. I don't even care anymore. No. It's all I'm ready.
But it's kind of crazy to me that this is kind of like more of an electronic music festival and Green Day is playing it. So I was kind of surprised.
Yeah, and well then if you look, it's got All Time Low. It's got Modest Mouse.
Yeah.
There's a couple. You're right though. I mean, we're stretching it here, but Death from Above 1979.
Yeah, there's not a lot. There's a handful.
There's a handful.
But you know what, like you said, how many bands are on the bill? There's more musicians on this bill than are people that are allowed to meet in a crowd right now. Like not including the crowd. Like if all these musicians were in the same room right now, that would probably be illegal in a couple of counties and states and parts of the world. So
that's why this is in Las Vegas and it's not until September. So I think that's when stuff is happening. With this summer, towards the end of summer and into winter, it's just going to be live show after live show. People are going to get back in the swing. That's what the way it's looking for me over here, which I think is good.
I am like overwhelmed just thinking about going to shows again.
Yeah, I'm already like, I don't know if I can handle it. I don't know if
I can handle it. I'm worried about like, just being in the crowd. Like, I don't remember what any of that is like. I don't remember what seeing live music. It'll be like my first concert all over again. Shoot, now I have to pick a really good one because it'll be like, what was your first concert?
Oh, I know.
Go to like a lame one, and
we're going to be talking about it.
Yeah, it'll.
This is one we're preparing for it already. Where were you on the day that you went to your first concert post-quarantine? What happened? It's just going to be this generational thing.
Yeah, we're going to be our last concert pre-COVID was refused. Pretty cool.
That's like pretty good.
Like, how are we going to beat that? I don't know. Like, I'm already
I think back when I was a young child, and the first concert I ever saw was Nelson, which was like an 80s hair band light. So that I started off on a pretty low there, and I worked my way up to Refused to post. Yeah. To pre-quarantine. So that excellent question. I don't know if it's going to dip down. I might just accept it. I'm just going to have to dip down and take what I get. Someone might ask me to go somewhere and I might just say yes,
right.
But then it might be, it's just so many good. Reviver could get back together and play a concert, and I'm like, oh, now I have to go see Reviver because that album Beauty Between, it's just one of my favorite albums. Why would that be
bad? You make it sound like you're not excited about that. You would be pretty excited.
No, I am excited, but I get overwhelmed too.
Yeah, it's almost like you want to have like a practice show, and like a band you're medium excited about, just to like get it. It's kind of like you go to, you know, when they tell you, you go on job interviews to practice for the good job, for the job interview, for the job you really want.
Well, yes. And I think the other,
And
you just got
now,
me thinking though. Hold on. I got it.
okay.
I am worried about being disappointed because I
Oh,
have so high expectations and so much anticipation. Could anything possibly reach that level to make me hit that mark? I don't know. And that's why I'm worried.
I think, but now your bar has been reset. Like there's no bar. You don't even remember anything anymore. Like now when I get to do things that I used to take for granted, I'm overwhelmed with excitement. Like it's just like crazy. Like if I get to see a friend or like do anything fun, it's just so much more exciting because you're just kind of starving for anything good or fun. So I think it'll be like that. Like
you do have several months to wait here because this is all September.
I guess,
you put in another ad there for Under Oath, September 24th. That's a huge concert, September 24th, 25th, and 26th. What's that?
Yeah,
where's Furnace Fest? There's Under Oath playing. There's Cave In, 18 Visions. Oh man, we're going fashion. Glass Eater. Oh, okay. Well, that's a little far from here, but man, they got Thursday playing.
Yep.
And then the next day, Taking Back Sunday and Berlin. What? This is like your dream concert here below.
I know.
The Bled. We haven't seen the Bled in like 15 years.
Warped Tour.
Oh wow. Holy cow.
This is my dream concert.
You're going to have to go, I think. You might have to go and tell me how it is. I don't think I can make it. Misery Signals, I think they're...
Even Bad Cop is playing it. Like every...
Oh, Touche Amore. They had that awesome album last year.
Yeah.
Oh, what, Andrew WK?
I know.
Boy Sets Fire, Face to Face, Hate Breed, Hot Water Music.
I know.
Oh, what's going on here? Well,
wow.
You're going to have to go to Alabama and report back. So. But except Alabama.
Yep, you're right. I'm going to have to go to Alabama is what I'm realizing from this lineup.
Furnace Fest 2021. Man, huge show.
We have a lot of festivals in California, but they're all more of the indie rock type of stuff. And so I haven't been, none of the festivals in California I've ever been to. The only festivals I've been to are outside of California because I'm just not interested in like melodic indie electronica stuff.
We're probably gonna have to travel. Like we're already going to Punk Rock Bowling. That's in Vegas. So that's there we go. All right. Well,
and I already have tickets to Riot Fest, but apparently I have to go to Furnace Fest as well. Oh my gosh.
You're booking up that second half of 2021 already. You're going to start booking into 2022.
It'll be really hard to go from my current routine, which involves staring at the wall for 2 hours a day, wondering when will this be over, and then just to be doing things like I have a very pandemic routine at this point, people. So a bunch of new releases that have come out in the last couple of weeks. First one is from NOFX, the single album. And I think it was written as a double album, but they're just releasing it as 2 albums. So they're going to release a second album shortly in the next couple of months, I believe. And you remember how we talked about how Fat Mike has been like one of the most productive quarantine people? Like,
yes. We talk about NOFX every episode.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I think I have a theory because I saw him, I watched an interview he did, and he talked about how he's been sober and he's trying to go sober for a year. So apparently this is what happens when Fat Mike is sober for a year. He organized like 2 shows at his house, or 1 or 2, I'm losing track. And then he's released like 2 albums so far with another one on the way. And he produced a bunch of albums last year. So apparently he's very productive sober. But he's doing it for a year, so.
Well, then I say keep up the good work, because I was surprised at how good this album was.
Yeah.
It was good. I liked almost every song.
It was really good. we often complain about how newer stuff is not as good as band's previous stuff, but I felt like this was a really strong release. It wasn't like, oh, I wish they sounded like they used to. It sounded like NOFX, which by now you would know what to expect, but it was a very catchy, what you would album from them. Some interesting lyrics, interesting topics to cover, and yeah, I thought lots of fun and catchy songs.
I feel like they've evolved as a band over the last 15 to 20 years. Their songs are definitely more vocally driven, or I pay attention more than I used to. When I was a teenager, I just thought of them as that goofy band, like Sticking in My Eye, stuff like that. And now the songs are serious and they're about life and death and they're about cancer. But they're good. It's good. I like it. So I mean, they have like one reggae-y song, and I'm not a big reggae beat guy. So other than that, I mean, top to bottom, how do you keep up the quality of song is so good throughout, and these dudes are like 50. And they're punks. It just doesn't match. Like, you grow up and you're like, you can't be an old punk, that's lame. And now here they are, they're old punks and they're freaking amazing. So I don't know, it's awesome.
So I think the cancer song, from what I understand, is about his friend faking cancer to get him to write a song about him or something. So there's going to be a second song about this friend on the next album. And also I did some listening to their interviews and some research about this release. Is what's crazy is they don't like plan anything going into studio. They just go and they just record. And so it's just mind-boggling to think that they kind of just wing it.
Well, that explains a lot about this band, because we've seen them a ton of times now. And the first couple of times I saw them, I hated them live. I was like, I like their songs.
I heard they suck. Live.
They suck so bad live. Like, get it together, guys. It's like you don't even know what song you're gonna play. You're spending more time talking about what song to play next than to actually play the song. And you play like 10 songs over the course of an hour and a half. And I'm just like, this is the stupidest live show I've ever seen. And then the next handful of songs, they are just blasting, playing like some of the best shows I've seen. So it makes perfect sense what you're saying to me now. You never know what you're going to get. You could get a crappy album, and now I know why it's a crappy album. They didn't spend too much time on it. And then they put out a really great album, and it's like, well, eventually you're going to strike gold. And that's what happens.
So it's actually, I listened to an interview with Smelly, and he said what you just said. He is even saying that you might see us and it might be the best show you've ever seen, and then 2 nights later you might see us and it might be terrible. And that seems to be pretty on the money for all the times I've seen them. Is because sometimes they'll just kind of have a bad night and they're just too wasted and they don't really play hardly anything, and some nights they're really on it and you just don't know which version you're going to get, but they just kind of do that and they are able to just wing it. He said Fat Mike called them and he said, we're recording the new album in 4 days, and he didn't even know that there were songs for a new album. And he was on vacation, so that explains a lot.
I always like to talk about good and bad. So for me, the bad, it's not really that bad, but I didn't like any songs more than I like I Love You More Than I Hate Me, which came out last year. I mean, that came out in like February or March of last year. So that's like a year-old song, right? Something like that. And I still think it's the best song on the album. At least for me, that's my favorite one. And while all the songs I thought maintained a really good, I mean, I enjoyed them, nothing really caught my attention as this I need to have. It was like, this is good. I like this. I'm a happy person. It's like when you're eating Oreos. It's like you can keep eating Oreos with milk or not. I mean, they're good. You like them. But it's still, it's an Oreo.
Yeah.
I've had a million Oreos before. Sometimes you want this new dessert to come and blow your mind. Like you get a creme brulee that you had never had before. And you're like, oh, whoa, now that's something. So there was nothing like that. But I mean, hey, I'm not going to complain about getting a handful of Oreos. They're still good.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
And then the next release is from Broken Gold, which has a couple of songs. It's like an LP, I guess.
Yeah,
I guess
EP.
we're still calling it EP.
EP.
Sorry, EP. And yeah, I thought it sounded kind of 90s alternative, like a little bit influenced to me.
Oh, we should mention this is the side project of the guitar player from Riverboat Gamblers.
Yes,
So that is an important thing to note.
it is important.
Doesn't sound a thing like Riverboat Gamblers.
No.
And the other thing you mentioned, it is an EP. My favorite song was Blindside off the EP. And yeah, you're right. It does have that 90s alt vibe, but then Blindside in particular, it was I like to call it adult punk. It's like Lawrence Arms or the Menzingers, where I think it's perfect when you're a punk, you're getting older and you still like punk, but you can't take the hardcore anymore, and you want something more about life and what matters in life, and you're thinking about why am I here, big picture stuff, and you want lyrics that you can hear clearly that aren't barked like a dog, and I call it adult punk. So
I feel like Social Distortion has like made that genre or put it on the map. Like,
yeah, you're right. Like thinking about life, but but Social is like that. Mike Ness's voice is totally different, though. But
I'm not saying this album sounds like it. I'm just saying that's like an adult punk album. Like that's what you listen to. That's what you listen to when you're like in a grown-up punk. You're not listening to like, oh, my mom sucks or whatever.
Yeah.
You're just like, yeah, life's rough.
Like right when you're on that edge, I don't know why it happens, but it tends to happen. The punks, they go into country or outlaw country or whatever. This is like the band you listen to before you take that dip.
Oh, yeah.
Or you listen to this band, Broken Gold, and you don't move into the country western stuff. If those are my two options, I'm going to go with Broken Gold every time.
Yeah.
That's like my life's goal now, is to never make that turn into country.
That's true. The song is from Bright Spears.
Bright Spears, Harvester. Now, when I listened to this, I couldn't even believe this was new. That's what threw me for a loop, because I'm like, it's in my I'm looking for new music on Spotify, and I just come across this and I hit the play button. I'm like, well, this sounds kind of like 90s grunge. This is like old Hole meets Nirvana Bleach, but not as gritty. But it's like, because it's not so punky, it's rocking, but it's not butt rock. It's very grungy. And then what do you know? They're new. Who knew?
That is crazy.
Hey, I liked it. I'm like, is grunge? Did I miss the boat here? Is there another thing that I missed? Probably. There's probably some grunge scene out there that they're a part of that I don't know. I think they're from the UK. So it's like,
I think
UK
a lot
grunge.
of grunge fashion is kind of back. So maybe, or like grunge inspired ish fashion. So maybe music is back too. I have no idea.
Well, I'm going to keep Riot Spears on the radar now because I'm down.
Yeah.
It's good. And another thing I liked that was good, that I was actually surprised I liked.
Yeah.
But I just got, when something's so good, it's just good. Even if it might not be your normal thing. The band is called Discover a Fire. The song was called A Calculated Risk. So this one, it has that high-pitched singer, like the dude from Coheed and Cambria. And I don't normally like that high of a pitched vocal, but I did. This was good. I was like, this is Coheed meets Thursday meets skate punk.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of like, it was melodic. I was thinking kind of like Good Riddance. So like, skate punk. That's what I was thinking.
The music, definitely. Skate punky on that music.
Okay.
But then the
vocals. Yeah.
The vocals were high pitched, and the arrangement was a little something to it like Thursday, because Thursday's not a straightforward band, but they're not a crazy, ridiculous. They're not like Math, So it's like there's just a little something there, a little something different. I mean, they do their own thing. So got to hand it to them. Discover a Fire. I'm down. I thought it was good stuff.
Yeah. And then the next one is from
Noogy.
Noogy.
I think it's Noogy, because I'm just used to receiving noogies, possibly giving a few noogies, but
And it's Teen Idol.
Teen Idol. And I couldn't believe this was a new band. It sounds like an old band, sounded like Circle Jerks to me. You said it sounded like F minus.
F minus to
And
me.
I agree with that.
That's what I was thinking of that too. Yeah.
And I thought, wow, this is amazing. And this is brand new stuff.
So energetic. I really liked it. It was a good find.
And the song I picked this week was Teen Idol. I looked through some of their other stuff. They're actually pretty diverse as a band. I would say they have like an Op Ivy influence. They might have some Rancid-esque influence. They had kind of that, the ska punk type of thing. So it was like East Bay, like the East Bay sound of the early to mid 90s. And here they are, a modern hardcore band playing awesome songs.
So that's what's cool about a lot of these releases, is that there's just so many bands just doing their own thing, and it's not just like what's necessarily on trend right now, which is always really exciting.
I was just so happy that every time we come up to do an episode, there's more bands I just found that I never heard of.
Yeah.
And then if I always think if you're looking hard enough, you find things. You're like, punk's not dead.
No,
that's the thing.
Apparently
I hear it, and sometimes I even think it, but it's not true. It's just me. I'm the dead one. Like,
sometimes it takes a nap. I think I saw a thing. I was like, it's just taking a nap. It's not dead, and it's taking a nap.
I mean, I think I'm taking a nap though.
Maybe that's my interpretation too, because sometimes I take a nap and I don't find anything new and exciting. Yeah.
But I just can't believe how good stuff is that's coming out now. A couple years after, I think, I guess those days are done. The scene's done. Everyone aged out of the scene. They're all listening to something else now. I guess I'm going to just listen to these same old bands. And I was kind of fine with it. Okay. I like all the stuff I like.
And I feel like as you get more busy, sometimes it's nice to just have your certain number of bands you go see, because that's more manageable than trying to discover new bands when you work full time or whatever, and trying to go to shows all the time. So that can be hard. And also smaller bands sometimes aren't able to tour everywhere and things like that. So that's another reason.
But there's tons of punk out there that's good. And, because I was on the verge of just being like, you know what, I guess I'm just going to get into stoner rock, because that's probably my next genre that I haven't really delved super deep into, but I like the sound. Bands like Fu Manchu, Nebula. So I'm like, I like Fu Manchu, I like Nebula. I'm going to go look into stoner rock bands, which I guess now I am too. But hey, I still got punk, so I'm happy. Yay!
That's awesome. That is always good. And then the next segment we do our grudge of the week, which is kind of first world problems. Like, we know these are not the most important problems, but that's what we're mad about that week. You're right. I'm sorry. This is the worst thing in the world, people.
No, okay. So the thing that's bothering me real bad lately is the location of the progress bar in relation to the play button. And this is almost every app or music app or video app, because you're listening to a song on Spotify and you hit the play button, and then it's got the little progress bar, and it's got the pause button, it's got the fast forward, and it doesn't make any sense, because whenever I put my finger on it, I hit the wrong thing. I'm trying to hit play, or I'm trying to hit pause, and that takes me to the part of the song that's right above the play button all the time.
Have you tried using the space bar for that? That's all I do now, because I can never find the screen that I'm playing music in really fast enough. So I just do space. Oh, on the phone? Yeah.
I mean, I know how to use a mouse here. I can do it. That's fine. I can do it over here while I'm on my laptop.
Then you're right. Not a solvable problem, and
it's freaking annoying as hell.
Yeah.
I'm sick of it. I think people who design this, I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, by now you should know you need some space. It has to be the space in between the progress bar and the play button. It has to be more than the width of a standard finger. That's just logic, but they won't do it. Why? And they might say, oh, we don't want the progress bar to run across, the prime portion of the screen. You could make that argument. And I'm like, okay, fine. Then put the fucking play button in the top right. Put the stop button in the top left. Like, come on. There are things that can be done to stop this, but everyone's just getting lazy.
Yeah.
That's going to be my next thing. I'm going to be complaining about people using emojis instead of words because we're too lazy to actually, program language things.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be instructions of the future, pretty much all pictures.
Oh, that's true. You're right.
We're like, we don't want to have a million languages. We're just going to have pictures for everything.
It'll be like an emoji of a smiley looking confused, and then it'll have and then it'll be like, do that, it'll be
So that's what I'm just talking about. The user is not being accounted for in the design of these apps. This is ridiculous. They're just doing stuff that looks aesthetically pleasing, and there's nothing I hate worse than looking aesthetically pleasing while losing functionality. Gee Liz, give me a break. Fair. All right,
I guess my grudge is almost relevant to that, but I keep having to buy workout clothes because I'm realizing there's different activities people buy workout clothes for, especially in pandemic. Like everybody wears sweatpants or whatever at home now and to work, because a lot of us are working from home. And so now I'm realizing I can't buy anything because I'll buy a pair of pants and it'll have great reviews. And I realize, these people probably like these pants for sitting on the couch and watching TV. Or these pants are great for walking your dog. Or if you're going to the grocery store to pick up some milk, these pants work. But when you're trying to work out in them, they don't really work as well. And they move around or,
This is a world that I have not become involved with yet. Tight pants, tight stretchy pants. We're talking about the tight stretchy pants, are we not?
We are talking leggings, otherwise known as leggings. Yes.
I don't know what happened, but I guess it's been 10 years now. 10 years ago, people were not wearing leggings to go to work or to do things.
Yeah.
That was for them to ride a bike. I'd see people riding a bike and I'd be like, oh, I'm never going to ride a bike. That's crazy. Like, who wears clothes like that outside, right?
Yeah, but now
that's all people wear.
Yep.
The whole world. It just changed. We don't wear jeans anymore. We just wear these leggings.
And then I keep reading reviews and people will be like, you can dress this up and stuff. And I'm like, you want to dress up sweatpants? I didn't even think about that as a concept. So I think that wraps it up for us this week. Follow us on Instagram. If you like this podcast, share it with your friends. If you don't like it, don't tell anyone. That's cool.
You would tell them anyway. What difference does it make?
We'll be back eventually with a new episode.
All right, over and out.